Raiden batter's out. And she's trash.
No.
She sucks.
No.
She does no damage. She needs a buff.
No.
I don't know how to use it.
You just gotta build her right.
Nobody knows how to use it.
Stop.
Fuck me, Hoyo. She doesn't want
she
to
doesn't need a buff. No. I have to teach them. I have to teach them how to build Raiden.
What's going on, YouTube? Legend here once again. This time I'm back at you again with Genshin Impact. That's right, Genshin Impact. Recently we had a brand new character that came out, Raiden Shogun, whichever you want to call her, and she is looking wonderful. She's looking great, and I love her. But there seems to be a lot going on when it comes to her. She seems to be a pretty controversial character. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to give you guys some tips and tricks in order to be able to use her to her max potential, because right now you might be hearing that she might not be that good, so on and so forth. But guess what? She's the highest grossing banner to ever come to Genshin. So that means a lot of people have her, and that means a lot of people don't know how to use it. So I'm just gonna try and break it down to as many tips as I can to kind of just help you guys going, so you guys do know how to use her, because frankly I think she's a broken character. I think she's great. I think she's awesome. And why do I think that? Well, after you're done with these tips, you'll be able to see why, and you may be able to even agree why Raiden is actually one of the best characters in the game, right? So first tip I want to come to is different ways to use Raiden Shogun. One is their ER Raiden, which I call her, and their DPS Raiden, right? Raiden is a sub DPS. That's what she's meant to be used for. She's not meant to be the main damage dealer on the team because she has a lot of downtime, right? But when she does have uptime, one of her passives is to be able to restore energy recharge for the team, right? In order for her to do that, ER Raiden, I say that you should try your best to get at least to 280 to over 300 ER for energy recharge Raiden, right? She's gonna do less damage when you try to overinvest in the ER, because Raiden is a very selfish character. She wants a lot of different stats, but if you completely focus on ER, she's going to keep those ults up for the team. Right now I have her at 244, and I do have Engulfing Lightning, so I get another 30 from it, so 274. I use her as DPS Raiden, but when you have characters with 40 and 60 cost ults, she's going to keep them up with 100% uptime. 80 cost ults, you give them 130% ER, and then yeah, she'll get those people up to 100% uptime too. So you don't need a ER Sans on those people like Jangling. You don't need to have an ER Sans on her anymore if you're running with Raiden Shogun. So you could just get those characters that can do more damage, like Xing Cho. Don't need to run a sacrificial sword on him anymore. You can do Jade Cutter. You can do whatever you have, Lion's Roar, whatever you have that you want to keep on him to get him to do more damage, right? So yeah, so that's ER Raiden. If you can get over 300% energy recharge, some people have 200, 220, 230. That's just not enough. That's just not enough for ER Raiden, all right? And DPS Raiden, that's what I have right now. Now with her, yeah, you can get away with 250, maybe 240, so on and so forth. But yeah, DPS Raiden, you want to be able to buff her up quite a bit with different buffs. Like if you, my thing is, if you need Kazuha, Bennett, Sarah, if you are missing two of those people, then don't bother with DPS Raiden. That's just my opinion, right? She'll be able to do a lot of damage on her own. She can do it, but honestly, you can have other top tier DPSs do a better job when it comes to that. So that's just my take on that. But if you do have Kazuha, Bennett, and Sarah, or at least two of them, then she is very, very strong. I've been testing her out quite a bit with all three of them, sometimes two of them, and she's been putting up some good numbers from 170 with her initial slash to 220 on her initial slash with C0 talent level 8, right? Keep in mind you can go to talent level 10, which is a big jump in damage, right? So keep in mind that C0. But when it comes to the two, for ER Raiden, you want to have an ER Sands on her. When you do that, you lose out on damage when you have ER Sands with the energy recharge weapon, but don't worry about it. Just do ER Sands, attack percentage goblet. And depending on the subset, sometimes if you have better subsets than others, yeah, sure, you can go ahead and run the other one because the damage, the difference in damage isn't that great. But I'd say ER Sands, attack percentage goblet. DPS Raiden, you want to do attack percent Sands, attack percent goblet, right? Not electro damage, right? Unless you have some scrap substats on them, you just do attack percentage on both, right? That's gonna help you out. Unless you, if you are doing both Bennett and Sarah, then you can look into see getting electro damage goblet on her. But unless you have both of them on the team at the same time for DPS Raiden, just do a attack stance for both. Okay. All right. So next tip. Let's move on to weapons. Right. So as I said, I have Engulfing Lightning R1 on her. But when it comes to weapons, right, it's very, very simple. Right. If you don't have the funds, the primos, or the money.
Is it? Because she actually doesn't have money? I heard that.
To get Engulfing Lightning, then use the catch. Use the catch. Get R5 for the catch. That's it. Second best weapon. People saying, "Oh, Skyward Spine." No, not Skyward Spine. The catch. Okay. Now, yeah, you can use it until you get the catch, but when you get the catch, use the catch. Okay. That's simple as that because it gives you more ER. Skyward Spine's passive does not proc when Raiden's using her ult, right? Because it's elemental burst damage. So it's not gonna proc that. So, and it gives you less ER. Might as well just use the catch, and until you get the catch, you can use Favonius Lance, right? Favonius Lance is just, don't try and use DPS Raiden with Favonius Lance. You might be able to do some damage, but if you're somebody that's been playing for a while and have some good DPSs, they're gonna out DPS her if you're trying to use Favonius Lance. So with that, just use ER Raiden and call it a day if you're using Favonius Lance. You can still use DPS Raiden with the catch. You can do that, but if you have Favonius Lance, that's why I say that, right? So those are three options right there. Favonius Lance, the catch, Engulfing Lightning. Anything else is copium, all right? I'm just letting you know that right now, okay? Yeah, sure, you can use Staff of Homa if you have that. But if you have Staff of Homa, that might be better on other characters. If you have Hu Tao, you have Zhongli, you have Xiao, you have other people. In my opinion, it's a waste to use that weapon on Raiden. But yeah, so those are the weapons. So now, when it comes to teammates, team comps, I have a couple different team comps for Raiden. All right. One of which I'm running right now. This is main DPS Raiden right here. This is this team comp right here. As I said before, I got Kazuha, Bennett, Sarah, right? They're all buffing Raiden. They're all doing their thing. Kazuha was giving her electro damage, additional electro damage on top of her passive. Bennett is giving her strength and attack buff. Same thing with Sarah, but she's also giving her some crit damage too because I have her at C6. If you have her at C2, that's fine. It's just not going to be as big of a buff, but it's still good enough. Right? So this is what you run when you want to do main DPS Raiden, right? But it's not the only thing you can do, right? You can use Jean, right? And Jean right here, if you use that, this is going to be, especially if you have C2 Jean, that's great. But Jean has an 80% burst right there, so that helps you get your stacks up. Same thing with Sarah, she has an 80 cost burst. So that's going to help her with the stacks, getting her to 60 stacks on her resolve as much as possible right there. So that's good right there. And then, but if you have C2, and it improves her movement and attack speed right there. You got the resonance. You have two resonances going on right here, the high voltage and impetuous winds. So stamina consumption, so you can do your nice charge attacks in her ult mode. It increases the movement speed, and then if you have C2 Jean, and it increases the attack speed also. So that's going to be beneficial. And then with the high voltage, gives you a little bit more energy recharge, which of course you want with her, especially Sarah, because Raiden's gonna keep her burst up 100% if you're fighting more than one enemy. But yeah, so there's that. And then now this is actually my personal favorite right here. It's say if you have child, right, and you're looking for a place to use child, this is great right here. This is an electro charge team. So we have Bennett Kazuha still buffing Raiden right here, but your main DPS is child, right? Keep that in mind. Child is your main DPS, not Raiden. She's supporting him. She is sub DPS in this situation, right? So Child does his thing, but Child has a lot of downtime, right? And that's where Raiden's gonna shine, because that 7 seconds she's out on the field, and then setting up these two, Child's gonna be right back up, ready to go, right? And depending on the builds, she might even out damage him. But yeah, but he is the main DPS in this situation, electro charge right here, all right? And especially since Kazuha can double swirl, it's always good to get them wet, get Child's mark on them, and then make sure you have Raiden's E up, and then swirl both of them, and then use Bennett, and then go crazy with either Child or Raiden, right? So that's my personal favorite team. I love to see it. It actually works best in the best out of the teams that, from what I've tested, it seems like. But yeah, but there's things you can do. And also too, also the more popular one right here, you can do Eula team right here. So if you have Eula, these two are a match made in heaven, constant super conduct, and then when Eula has her downtime or after she uses her ult, take Raiden out. This is ER Raiden that you're going to be using. Do your burst, do your thing. Eula's ult is right back up. Boom, you love to see it.
Ooh, you know he did.
Alright, so that's that. And you can use other things too if you have Yoimiya. You can do overload Yoimiya when it comes to that, Raiden and Yoimiya right there with Bennett. Maybe Kazuha too if you have Kazuha. If you don't have Kazuha, then you can use another Nemo character like Venti, preferably, or Sucrose. So there's that right there. So yeah, so those are different teams that you can use with Raiden. Now, another team that you can also use is the national team. And apparently, I mean, I haven't tested it too much, but word on the street is that it actually performs better than having Sucrose in a national team, right? So basically having Raiden and having Xingqiu, having Bennett, and having Zhang Ling. And you can focus on attack on those and keep their energy recharge around 130%. So you don't have to do, sacrificial bow on Xingqiu anymore. You can not sacrificial bow, sacrificial sword on Xingqiu anymore. You don't have to do that. You can just do, give him a nice weapon right there. Attack Sans, call it a day, right? So that's gonna help buff up the damage more. It's gonna perform better there too. So those are some different teams you can use when it comes to that with 5 stars and 4 stars. Yeah, I understand that Beto doesn't work with her, and that's something that's really, really bugging people. But guess what? You can use Beto with her. Let's take a look, see, right? This is how you use Beto with Shogun, with Raiden Shogun. A nice taser comp with Child, right? Beto uses her ult, Raiden uses her E, Bennett ult, take out Child, start applying Hydro everywhere. Full utilization of Beto's ult. Child's down, ult with Raiden, brings Beto's ult right back up. There we go. Boom, right? And so yeah, so that's one way you can use Beto with Raiden right there, just for energy recharge. As long as Raiden isn't the main DPS in the situation, then they can work together. It's okay. Alright? So, there's that. The only thing I don't recommend when it comes to teams, when it comes to Raiden, is obviously melt and vaporize and freeze teams, because she's gonna mess that up, right? People say, oh yeah, let me use Ayaka. Let me use the Ayaka with Raiden. Well, the thing is though, Ayaka's best in slot artifact set is Blizzard Strain. So if you use that, you're scoring yourself out a 20% crit rate, which is not good. Some people say, oh, well, I have enough crit rate for that. Well, if you have enough crit rate for that, then you probably you probably are not utilizing Blizzard Straight to its fullest. So, yeah, that's my opinion when it comes to that right there. All right. So there's that team. What I think Raiden's big strengths are, honestly, I think the fact that if you're not using Melt, if you're not using Vaporize, you're not using Freeze, I think she makes every other situation more viable. She's going to help with a lot of AoE when it comes to Electric Charge. She's going to help that out right there, right? She's going to help out Overload. She's going to power up your ults, right? She's going to do all these different things when you're not utilizing those three reactions right there, right? Because right now the meta is Melt, Vaporize, and Freeze, right? But like, you don't want to, like, sometimes you don't have all the characters to be able to do that all the time, right? So sometimes you don't have characters to do that all the time. So in those situations, in any situations besides those three, Raiden Shogun is going to shine, and she's going to be super invaluable, irreplaceable. When you're in the Abyss, one side you do your Melt, your Vaporize, other side you do whatever you need to do, right? Doesn't matter what the ult costs are. You don't have a good energy recharge stance, no problem. You're good to go. Put the attack stance on that you've been using on the other characters, right? So honestly, I just feel like with those things right there, a lot of people kind of understand that they're putting too much emphasis on the beta ult, missing the beta ult. They're putting too much emphasis on how they're lacking damage because they don't have the right builds, and so on and so forth. And honestly, the beta thing does suck, actually. It's kind of weird how they just changed the wording when it came to that. But honestly, besides that, she does good damage. She does good support. She's worthy to be called an Archon in this game, right? Yeah, she doesn't make unbreakable shields, but you don't need a shield when you're just constantly bursting in your iframes, okay? So, but yeah, those are just kind of some thoughts that I wanted to give you guys on Raiden Shogun. If I missed anything, which I'm sure that I did, let me know in the comments down below. If you have any questions, if you want any advice on specific builds, let me know. I'll do as best as I can. But yeah, I've been doing a lot of testing with her, and I think that she is amazing at C0, right? I have her C3, just not activated yet. After this, I'm going to activate it and try and do a showcase with that. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned. And with that, I'll end the video there. Legend out.